what happens when a spell goes wrong? So there are times when we have the best interest in mind. There are times when we have it all planned out and we go and do our spell and then it starts manifesting, but not how we've intended. So I wanted to first talk about reversing or undoing a spell. And there's numerous ways to do this. There's so many different people to ask about. There's many different articles online to find to do, like, how to do that. But for the most part, if you have something go wrong or that you want to undo or you changed your mind or whatever the case may be, usually it's a very quick choice because it's not manifesting correctly or you're getting backfires. And so you don't have time to prepare a big thing. You don't have time to go buy all the gadgets and the fancy gizmos and ingredients and everything. So I wanted to do like a very to the point, very simple, very easy to do, something that you probably already have in your own home, how to undo it. So I'm going to let a few more people hop on real quick. Hi Sabrina. Hi Ashley. Hello. So for the part about undoing and reversing a spell, it's not necessarily reversal in terms of like return to sender. It's basically undoing it entirely and getting rid of it. So you put the intention out there. It's basically saying, okay, the intention's out there, erase it. I don't want it out there anymore. And you don't want it, don't say take it back, because if you take it back, then there might be a loophole in that and it might come back to you, and that's probably worse off than whatever it was doing wrong in the first place. So you do not want to say take it back. So I'm going to be doing that alone right now, and then after I talk about that and finish that up, we are going to have Nico come over here. He's going to sit next to me. We're going to pan the camera out a little bit further. I'm going to show you the new crystals that we have in stock, as well as some individual specimens that are going to be for sale that's coming out of our personal collection. And then I'm going to show you 2 of the future raffles that we're going to do. So yeah, okay, so if you caught the beginning spiel about why someone might want to undo a spell, this video will be saved. You can hear my little chit chat before that, but I want to just dive right in. There's not many of you here, and that is perfectly fine. Once we get going, we're going to start sharing it and stuff, but right now this is just for me and you to converse and talk about this. So you did a spell. Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Perhaps you're not seeing it manifest. It depends on the timeline. So if you did a spell and it's not showing up or the results are not coming to you yet, it could mean that it didn't work. But more often than not, it's because you're expecting really fast results, and maybe you did a spell before and it happened the next day. So then you're kind of basing things off of that timeline or that goal. And sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it comes in bits and pieces. And that's normal. That's okay. However, if you're noticing that the spell is manifesting or it's counterintuitive to what the spell was, so for example, you do a money spell and all of a sudden you're losing money and lesser than what you had when you did the spell. Good chances that, it could just be happening. That might just been coincidental that, more bills showed up and that the spell hasn't done its job yet. Or it could be that something in the wording, something in the spell kind of either backfired or just didn't work. And that's what I wanted to talk about. So if you're seeing things and it's kind of seeming like it's counterproductive to what your goal was originally, so if that's the case, or perhaps you did a spell and you felt like you had a deadline to get it done and you weren't as prepared, And I see this a lot. Perhaps you find out that, like for example, 11/11, November 11th, is a magical manifestation kind of day, and you have one day to prepare. Maybe that's not enough time for you, and so when you go to do your spell, you didn't have enough preparation in terms of like how you want to word it, what materials and ingredients you wanted to use. Maybe you kind of rush it because you didn't have privacy. If you get interrupted, that can also change the outcome of it. If you're interrupted, if you have a lapse in your concentration because someone rings the doorbell, your phone buzzes, a child runs in and gives you a hug or asks for a snack or something, all these things can change the original intention just because it breaks your focus. And sometimes it can still work, but that can happen. So I just want to say, okay, you did a spell, you don't want it to be there anymore. Here's a super, 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 super easy, simple way to undo that. I recommend a form of candle magic because candles are something most people have in their homes. It also represents all of the elements in one single object. So for example, and if you have a black one or a dark colored one, that's good, or white. If you have white, even a tea light, a small little tea light, you can get bags of them from the dollar store. That works too. If you have a black crystal, a black tourmaline, onyx, any kind of stone that's kind of an absorbing negative kind of things, you can put that right on top of the tea light. Now I wish I brought a tea light out. See, not prepared. No. Alright, so you take a candle. Why a candle? For me, I like to have everything represented, and I like to be really quick and simple. I have kids, I don't have a lot of time, so candles are an awesome way to go. The candle itself represents earth, it's solid, it's made by materials that could have been founded by the earth, beeswax, waxes, and then you burn it. You have flame. Flame is the fire element. The smoke created by the flame is now air. And then as it melts, it's liquid. And there's the water aspect of it, the fluidity. So what you want to do is you want to light the candle. And this isn't kind of a light and walk away kind of situation because this is all you're going to be using. The first thing before you even light the candle is to have a clear idea of what you're doing or what you're undoing. And you want to word it in a way that you're making it vanish or stopping it. Say, I put the intention out there, I want it to stop, I want it to vanish, I don't need assistance in this matter anymore. Thank you, universe, God, spirit guides, quarters, whatever it is that you use when you're doing spell work. You basically want to say thank you, but no thanks. No, but thank you for trying. Thank you for doing the job. I realized on my part I had missed a step, or I had worded it incorrectly to what my true goal was, or I just don't want it to happen anymore. I don't want it to manifest anymore. I'm undoing it. So what you want to do is have that clear intention in mind. Something I do say is that to people is, do not say, and I quote, I take it back. So thank you for your spell, I take it back. No, 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 no. Because by saying that, there's always a loophole, and that's what we have to be careful with in the first place with the spells, is that we're very concise, we have a very clear vision, clear intent, because if there is any wiggle room for mistakes, think of it when you watch like Aladdin or the genies or any kind of movies that have genies that grant wishes. They ask for something and they get it, but there's a loophole. Like, yeah, you said you wanted this, but you didn't say anything about that. So you have to be concise, and you have to make sure that you're envisioning it correctly to how it would be manifested. So it's not say, I want money, and you're just picturing piles of money. You have to picture yourself receiving the money, and in what way that you would like to receive it. You don't have to be too precise with how you receive it, because sometimes the universe just works in its own ways to get it to you, but you have to visualize how you feel when you obtain the results of your spell. So you do a money spell. I feel at peace, I feel easy, I feel like I have security, financial freedom, I feel lighthearted, I don't feel as stressed, I feel relieved. You want to embody those feelings when you're doing the spell in the first place, but then so when you're undoing it, you want to basically envision the spell that you did and picture it however you want, floating around, or like it leaves your body, and you want it to basically be cut off from you and erased. So if you think about it, like a string tether into the into the sky, into the universe, and you want to picture it being cut, like scissors, some spirit scissors, cutting it and lighting the whole thing on fire, disintegrating the entire tether, because you don't want it to be there at all. You want it to vanish. And I do recommend using that word vanish. That I know, thank you for assisting me in my spell on said day. Use the date for whatever purpose. But as of today, right now, I no longer need your services. I no longer need this spell to manifest. I would like to cut ties with it, and I ask that you remove it and, you know, make it disappear. And you want to meditate on it. So you want to visualize it. You don't have to say anything out loud. Everything can be done in your head. Visualize, look in the flame, watch it move. The flames, I posted this on my Instagram a few days ago. Flame reading, it's in one of like the voodoo posts that I did. It's like the second picture on the swipe. Basically there's like a voodoo way of reading flames to see how your spell is working. So if it flickers, it means something. If it whooshes, it means something. If it goes tall, it means something. So you can kind of gauge based on that, but you don't have to. That's just a kind of like fun thing to do. The goal though is to use a small candle. Unless you have endless time, use a small candle. The votives or a tea light, they burn quickly. So you want to meditate on it. You want to make sure your thing is clear. You want to make sure you say thank you, and you want to make sure that you have the proper intention of removing entirely the spell that you did. And then when you feel, because you want to visualize it disappearing, so when you feel that it is in fact gone and that it's not weighing heavily on you anymore, you don't feel that tether, you don't feel that your work is still being done, when you feel relieved, when you feel that removal of this spell, that's when the spell is done. And you can snuff out the candle, you can think the candle, you can blow it out. There's a lot of speculation on whether to blow it out or snuff it. I snuff it, and then do that. Do not keep your candle. If you do not finish it all the way down, do not keep it. Go bury it or get rid of it in some other way that you know it's going to be gone. And that just adds to the fact of undoing it, because now the candle for it took it all in, melted it all down, and now you're getting rid of it. Do not keep your candle. Don't use it for something else. If it's a scented candle, I don't recommend scented candles unless it's a spell scented candle. But like, say you have a Yankee candle that's this big and you're like, oh, it's the only dark one I have. Don't use it, because then you're not going to be able to use it again. So use a small one. I hope that helps. I'm going to go get my partner in crime. Look! Ta-da!